Conor McGregor appears to have put his UFC return on hold, shifting his focus towards politics and a potential run for the presidency of Ireland. However, he stated that if elected, he would still be interested in competing in the UFC while serving as president.
You know, like I said, I've got 2 fights on the contract. I'm in negotiations. Last week something happened to me. I went to the White House and my country is in my, my heart bleeds for my country right now. So there's a lot of stuff going on back home. I'm happy with what I've done. You know, there's something else for me that's in my gut right now. And that's kind of where I'm going. So we'll see. Greatness don't rush. Also, greatness does not rush. There was an opportunity or a deal, we'll say, to fight in Alcatraz only recent, and they came to me, and it wasn't my worth. I hold every pay-per-view record in the book. I hold every gate record in the book, and my comeback will be slated as the greatest comeback or the biggest, most anticipated comeback of all time. So it has to be right. And right now, Ireland is in my thoughts, and that's where I'm at. It will happen, I'm sure, and it's always great to be here. And there you go.
If you were to be president of Ireland, would you contemplate of fighting and being president at the same time?
And now entering the octagon, the notorious president of Ireland, Conor McGregor. What f***ing right I will. Of course, are you crazy? That's part of why I want to do it. To be announced as the president of Ireland having a fight. Imagine that. But, you know, for sure. Hell yes. Hell yes.
Dean Thomas doesn't believe Leon Edwards is a true fighter at heart. At UFC London last weekend, Sean Brady defeated Leon via guillotine choke in the 4th round, dominating much of the fight up until the finish. Dean Thomas, who was in Brady's corner, stated that when Leon shot for a takedown in the 3rd round, he knew the fight was a wrap. On Anthony Smith's podcast, Dean said when he did that, I got quiet and looked at John Marquez, the head coach, and said, did he just try to take Sean down? And then when he got reversed, John was like, man, we could just play checkers, and we could literally play chess right now because we don't need to do anything. We just knew at that point the fight was over. When Leon shot that takedown, he showed his hand that he did not want to be in there anymore, and that was a wrap. I couldn't believe it. I don't want this to be disrespectful toward Leon, because I still believe that skill for skill, his body type and all that he was a great champion. He's a great fighter. He's still top 5 material, but I just don't think that Leon is, in his heart, a real true fighter. And I say that in terms of Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier. These guys will fight you in a parking lot. I think he's an athlete, and I think he's a performer. I think he's creative. I think in the gym, he probably eats up everybody in the gym. Super magical. I just think when the lights come on and it's time for him to really fight, despite not being a true fighter, he was still that good. He was still that good and still able to beat everybody. On Leon's coaches, Dean continued, I think they even recognize that Leon at times is not a true fighter at heart, and they want him to be. That's why they're protective of him. That's why the coach is like, come on, son, don't let him bully you, because they know that if he had a little bit more grit in him and had the ability to chew iron, that he would probably still be world champ. And to be fair, I didn't have it either. This is how I know what it looks like, because I didn't have it either. When things got hard for me, I resorted to pulling guard too. I resorted to shooting takedowns and pulling guard, so I know what it looks like. Ian Garry did another Q&A on his Instagram. He names one of his current favorite UFC fighters and also has words for Colby Covington. Ian fully believes that Colby is afraid to fight him.
Who's my favorite athlete in the UFC? There's been someone lately who's been tickling my fancy. His style is phenomenal and I love to watch it. It kind of reminds me of an old school Conor McGregor. His name is Mauricio Hufi. He's from São Paulo, ele brasileiro. His style is beautiful. I think his movement is next level and I'm excited to see how his career unfolds at the moment, but he's absolutely one of my favorite fighters in the UFC right now. Is Oban Elliott the biggest gangster I've ever trained with? Well, let me tell you, brother, yes, he is. He asked this question? He fucking did, didn't he? 100% he did. Did he ask that question? Have you found out where Colby Covington is hiding? I don't need to. It's blatantly obvious the man has no want to fight me. I've told you. You know when you're a kid and you watch a horror film and you never want to watch a horror film after that because you know what it does to you and you know the way it keeps you up at night and you start to fear and panic and you look down and you see dark and you're like, that's what happens in Colby's mind when he thinks about me.
Mauricio Rufy responded to Ian Garry. He left a comment on the video saying it's funny to wake up and watch this video. A guy who I'm a big fan, that I study and watch all your fights, to say that you admire my style, it makes me very happy. I hope to one day have the opportunity to train together. God bless. Brandon Moreno shares his thoughts on his upcoming fight against Steve Erceg this weekend at UFC Mexico. Erceg enters the bout following consecutive losses to Alessandre Pantoja and Kai Kara France. Moreno believes these setbacks make Erceg an even more dangerous opponent, as he will be even more hungry to secure a victory and work his way back to another title shot.
One of my main focus right now is don't even think in the past, you know. I'm just trying to be very focused on Steve Erceg. He's a very dangerous opponent. You know, I think he's very motivated because he's coming for a bad moment in the company. So I think he's going to get that victory again. So with that being said, like, again, I'm not thinking of the past. I'm trying to be very, very focused on my present. And that's it. Man, it's weird because in other fights, a lot of people was talking about that, right? Like, I mean, Brandon Moreno has a lot of time fighting in the company. Like, he has so many fights in the UFC, so he has a lot of experience. But I don't feel like I had the ability to take advantage of that experience before. But now, I mean, and after my last fight against Albasi in Canada, like, now I can feel how that experience can work in my benefit, you know. So man, I'm just excited to fight against Steve. I know, again, he's very motivated to fight against me, so it's gonna be a nice fight. Man, a lot of people think he won that fight against Pantoja, right? So again, right now he's not in his best moment, you know. He come from a lose with Kai France, but that makes a fighter very dangerous, you know, like, because he wants to win, he wants to get the title opportunity again in the future. So he knows, like, if he beats me this Saturday, it can be a really good step for that goal in the future. So he really good boxer, good distance, good jiu-jitsu, good ground game. And that's it, man. I mean, it's a dangerous sport.
Steve Erceg says he's excited to face Brandon Moreno. He reveals he does not have a set game plan, and that this fight could either be 25 minutes of him laying and praying, or a stand-up war.
Yeah, I'm uncharacteristically excited. Usually I'm like, first thing is like, oh god, now I have to fight this killer. But like, for whatever reason, I was like, oh, this is like a dream fight. I was just so excited for the fight. Obviously, nerves hit me afterwards, but yeah, just like elation, I guess, immediately following the news. I know he can change it up when things aren't going well and stuff like that, so I don't have like a strict game plan or anything like that. I'm just going to go in there, see what he throws, see how he reacts, and like gauge it from there. So this could be me laying and praying for 25 minutes, or it could be an absolute war on the feet. I'm not really sure. I honestly don't know where it puts me at it, because I really do think the likely fight for the title is Kai Pantoja. I think logical #1 contender fight is Royval and Cup, and so I'm fighting somebody in the top 10, highly ranked, hopefully, with a win over Moreno. And yeah, if one of them get injured, I'll fight one of them. But yeah, I don't really know. Honestly, the coolest part is like looking back at 40 years and going, man, I fought all these killers. That'll be the part that's coolest.
Brendan Schaub says he would need at least $5 million to return to combat sports. Brendan's last fight was at UFC 181, where he was TKO'd in the first round by Travis Brown. Schaub says that he would not only need a big payday, but he would need some time to prepare and come off certain substances that he is currently taking in order to pass a drug test. Schaub said $5 million. $5 million would be the marker. $5 million to fight, $5 million. Just $5 million. It'd be a lot longer than 6 months for me to get prepared. I haven't fought in how many years? 6 months ain't enough, Bubba. A year of training at least. I also have to get off all the shit I'm on. So you have to get off that and get your system back. That's what I'm saying. I'd have to stop everything and get off all the shit I'm on. Promoters are going, oh, we're good. It's tough to get punched in the face. The CTE, what does that look like? I'd have to spar with professionals. It would have to be in MMA. I wouldn't do boxing. Kelvin Gastelum still fully believes he can become the UFC middleweight champion. Ahead of his fight against Joe Pyfer tomorrow at UFC Mexico, Kelvin says the current middleweight champion Dricus Du Plessis has major holes in his game. Kelvin was actually supposed to fight Dricus on short notice back at UFC 273. However, a knee injury forced Kelvin out of the fight. Speaking to MMA Junkie, Kelvin said, I had a meeting with Hunter Campbell a few months back, and I told him, listen, I want to fight the best. I want to still fight for a title, so put me on that route to fight for the title. He gave me the hardest, toughest matchup he could find, but that's fine. I think I need to start from the bottom. It's a fresh start in the middleweight division again, so I just need to work my way up. On Dricus, Kelvin said, we were like that guy. He fights weird. Sure enough, Ali Abdelaziz made some calls. Next day we were matched up. The thing was, the very next day, I went into sparring and I injured my knee, man. We were training for him. We already strategized for him. Obviously, he's got huge holes in his game. The thing that makes him dangerous is his cardio, his pressure. I mean, he just goes in there, balls to the wall for 25 minutes and he bullies people. And that's his specialty. Just like Khamzat Chimaev, just like Merab Dvalishvili. These guys go in there and they bully people with their cardio, and that's a style that's starting to come. I think that's very new. Drew Dober anticipates a back-and-forth stand-up battle in his upcoming fight against Manuel Torres at UFC Mexico. Currently facing a challenging stretch in his career, Dober has won just 1 out of his last 4 fights, most recently losing to Jean Silva via TKO by doctor stoppage in the 3rd round due to a nasty cut above Dober's right eye. Despite this, he remains focused, emphasizing that his training helps him block out negative thoughts. At 36 years old, Dober is determined to win this fight and then stay as active as he can moving forward.
I mean, I definitely know why they matched us up in Mexico City in front of the Mexican crowd that loves fighting, because yeah, they're gonna love this fight, and I'm really excited to see kind of how tough he is. I mean, I think he's a really cool guy. I like the way he fights, but I think he is similar to me earlier in my career, and I'm the more evolved version of that fighting style. Oh yes, yeah. I mean, when you're by yourself in your car, you know, you have all like the negativity thoughts, the doubts, all that stuff. But in training and in pushing forward and trying to like overcome obstacles, you start realizing that like your physical exhaustion quiets your mind, and that's kind of how I live my life. It's putting yourself in the moments of fear actually quiet the fear. We're trying to fight as many times as possible. I'm not getting any younger, so hopefully we can get a fight again in June or July, and then I'm trying to fight 3 to 4 times this year. So mine is just trying to increase the time I'm in that octagon.
Shara Bullet is hoping Dricus Du Plessis loses his middleweight title. At the moment, Dricus is not scheduled for a fight. However, the current narrative is that he will defend his belt against Khamzat Chimaev next. Speaking to Sport 24, Shara said, "I will be very happy if Du Plessis loses his belt. I don't understand how he managed to get this belt. Chimaev has the data to defeat Dricus. I hope that nothing will stop him from coming out in the best shape and demonstrating his level. Maybe it's stupid to say, but Du Plessis seems to be lucky." Jorge Masvidal is currently preparing to make his return to the UFC. He is currently coming off 4 consecutive losses, the most recent being a unanimous decision defeat to Gilbert Burns in 2023. Masvidal has his eyes on a fight with Leon Edwards, believing a win could set him up for a shot at the welterweight title. For those unfamiliar, Masvidal and Edwards have a history of bad blood. 6 years ago, after Masvidal's knockout win over Darren Till, the two got into a physical altercation backstage while Masvidal was being interviewed by Laura Sanko. Speaking to Submission Radio, Masvidal said if the UFC wants to make this return happen, this is what they do. Give me the Leon fight, and then after that I fight whoever has that damn belt, man. Let's go. Tell Dana, give him Leon, then give him a title fight. I beat Leon in every way, shape, and form. He can't wrestle me for 5 rounds, so I don't have to worry about the takedowns, and I know on the feet he's fragile compared to me. At this point, who do you guys think wins between Leon and Jorge? Post your opinions in the comments. And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. The first one's from Cole6988. Says, Usman been talking a lot. I'd like to see him get active. The second one's from Randy35W. It's in reference to Sean Strickland's girlfriend being concerned about Sean having CTE. It says Sean's girlfriend definitely has a valid concern. The guy spars like it's 1996. And the final one says, Colby, I don't like when people say mean things about me, Covington. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.